The 3DS is my favorite console ever, but today I wanted to talk about its little brother, the DSi, as an alternative purchasing option since the 3DS is so dang expensive. Last year I made a video talking about why the 3DS was a better purchase than the Switch, which it still is. But this time I wanted to make a video on why somebody might want to get a DSi over a 3DS. Both of these consoles are amazing, and in my opinion, both worth purchasing. But if you can only choose one, I'm hoping that this video will help you decide on why you might want to choose the DSi over the 3DS. And let's get the number one big reason out of the way first. It's the price. The DSi is about half the price of a 3DS right now. I've seen some DSis and DSi XLs going for about $100 or less on Mercari and on eBay. So it's a real big price cut compared to the 3DS right now. Keep in mind that you are essentially cutting the library of games in half, but that doesn't always have to be a bad thing. There are more than likely hundreds of regular DS games that you have not played yet. So cutting that library in half may help you hone in on certain games that maybe you didn't consider playing because they were on older hardware. So you may want to jump into the DSi library to look at the old Nintendo DS games and get a feel for those and enjoy those games first before you decide on purchasing a 3DS. Keep on the lookout for a top 5 Nintendo DS games coming to the channel soon. I'm working on that video now, so if you're interested in that, please subscribe, leave a like and comment on this video as well. It really helps with the algorithm and all that, and I appreciate it. Thank you. Moving on. The second reason you may want to choose a DS over a 3DS right now is because of the size. The DSi is thinner and more compact than its 3DS older brother, and some people do prefer that size, whether it's for comfortability in the hands or for people like me, fitting in most of my pockets. And from my experience, these DSis are way more durable than any of my 3DSs. I mean, check out this Pokemon Black DSi I purchased a few years ago. It's in real bad shape and was not taken care of at all, but it still turns on and it still plays games. I mean, the whole volume button is non-existent and it still works. You know the saying that they don't make them like they used to? That rang true for the 3DS and the Switch, but it also does with the 3DS and the DSi. The form factor is great, and personally I do enjoy the smaller size. I don't know why. And believe it or not, the DSi has better battery life than the 3DS. And that's saying a lot. The 3DS already had amazing battery life, but the DSi beats it. In medium brightness, your 3DS had about 3 to 7 hours of battery life, and on medium brightness, the DSi lasts almost double that. And I think if you have the DSi XL model, it lasts even more than that. And I know we haven't mentioned the XL versions of the DSi that much, and the truth is I don't have an XL version of the DSi. I have only the regular DSi. Yeah, I mean, it speaks for itself. I like the regular version more, but if you have a DSi XL that you love, please leave in the comments down below why you prefer it over the regular DSi. Love to hear it. Another reason you may want to choose a DSi over a 3DS is the focus of the device. There are no gimmicks in the DSi. It is just a double screen portable console. And honestly, you don't need to worry about any 3DS gimmicks popping up in any of your games, which I know isn't the craziest deal, but there's no denying there's a satisfying design to the DSi. By just looking at it, you can quickly identify the changes Nintendo made from the original DS. And the changes are so dramatic, I could never recommend somebody jumping into the original DS model. So yeah, as somebody who has literally tens of DSs, I find the design and the simplicity of the DSi to be a huge selling factor for me. I would say my time between 3DS and DSi is pretty split, half in the middle, 50-50. I enjoy using both, but if I'm playing a regular DS game, I usually tend to gravitate towards my DSi anyways. I just want to elaborate on the designs of the DS that I mentioned earlier. This is the original Nintendo DS, the one that came out when I was like in elementary school. And this is the exact same DS that I had growing up. As you can see, it's totally beat up, super worn down. You can't blame it. I mean, this thing's probably almost 20 years old. If you have one already, go ahead, use it, totally fine, but I wouldn't go out of my way to purchase one of these just because the newer DSs feel so much more higher quality. So after the original DS, we actually got the DS Lite, which we're not talking about in this video, but it's still a pretty decent DS. Again, if you have it lying around, go ahead and feel free to use it. Honestly, it's not the worst. It's much better than this guy, but it's not as good as the DSi in my opinion. The real reason I bought this DS is actually, it was my action replay DS. I had an action replay from when I was a kid that didn't work on the DSi. It only worked on these older DSs, so this one obviously I didn't want to use, so I got this one to do all my action replay stuff. And I don't really use it anymore because I've modded my DSs, but that's the main reason I actually even purchased this DS. This is just a flex at this point, but I do have my Game Boy games from when I was little, so yeah. And that brings along to the DSi, where again, this is the DS I would recommend all of you to get. It's my favorite one. Feels the best in the hands. You can get one of these plastic shells to put over it, and it just looks so nice. Feels really premium for a product this old. It feels amazing. So really, out of all these DSs, just wanted to put it out there. Out of all these DSs, get the DSi. And lastly, and most importantly, comes down to personal preference. You decide which console speaks to you more. And if you want my thoughts on the 3DS, check out my 3DS video where I compare it to the Switch. It'll be pinned here and on the description down below. Something that I did forget to mention was the DSi is actually very moddable. Just as moddable as the 3DS. Moddable. Is that a moddable? Pretty much you can mod your DSi, and I'm not gonna link anything in the description or anywhere, but just look it up. It's super easy. If I can do it, you can do it. They're out there. Follow those guides. So there is an affordable way to play almost every DS game out there. Just keep that in mind when you're deciding between the two consoles. You really just gotta choose which console you're gonna buy. The games kind of come with the console. You know what I mean? That being said, the DS library of consoles are my favorite consoles ever. And personally, I don't think you could go wrong with choosing either of these consoles. Console. Choose which one speaks to you more, or simply which one you can afford right now. 3DSs are super expensive nowadays, and that couldn't be a real big deal for some people. But I want to tell you that jumping into the DSi is a safe bet. You're going to get hours and hours and hours of enjoyment. So don't feel pressured to have to get a 3DS, and consider getting into the DSi. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. And if you stayed to this point, I want to tell you, thank you. Thank you so much. I do have one more favor to ask. We are so close to 500 subs. And if you can consider hitting that subscribe button, I'd really appreciate it. All the engagement really helps the channel grow. The comments, the likes, the shares, all that, it makes a huge impact to these videos, and I really appreciate it. Expect more DS content and gaming content in general, and I will be live streaming. I try to do daily, but maybe every other day. We'll kind of see how that goes. But if you see me live, feel free to jump in and say hi. That'd really be appreciative as well. I'd appreciate that as well. Thanks. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. Peace.